Hey you guys, this is Abby from Body Mind Yoga. I'm going to lead you through about a 20 or a 25-minute, just kind of gentle, still a flow, but it'll be a little bit more gentle. This would be ideal for people who have been running a lot during the quarantine or have been doing a lot of sitting. We'll get into a lot of hips. Also great for beginners, so if there's anybody else at your house that's maybe been kind of wanting to try yoga, but maybe has seen some of the stuff you've been doing and they think that's too advanced, this will be really great for them too. We're just going to move through some basic Sun A's and Sun B's with a little bit of variation. And then we'll have a really short flow with just simple postures, nothing too dynamic. So I hope you enjoy. We're going to go ahead and get started by coming down flat onto our backs. This is how we always start class, in some sort of grounding position. This is called Savasana. So just give yourself a minute to kind of get all your fidgets out. Feel really comfortable on your mat. Your arms can be out by the side body. Your palms can face up or down. And just allow your feet to extend out in front of you, and your toes will flop towards the sides of your mat. And just begin to settle in here. Try to find some stillness and begin to notice just the normal breath pattern. We're going to begin to come into Ujjayi Pranayama. That's our victorious breath, and this is the breath that we use throughout class. So take a big breath in through the nose as you constrict the back of the throat, so you create an ocean-like sound. Keep inhaling for 2, 3, 4. Take a little pause at the top of your breath. Feel the air swirl around in the back of the throat. And then exhale through the nose. Keep the lips sealed. It's a slow and controlled exhale for 2, 3, 4. We'll take that again. Breath in. It should sound like an ocean wave for 2, 3, 4. Pause. Lips sealed. Breathe out the nose for 2, 3, 4. We'll take one more big breath in for 2, 3, 4. Pause. Breath out for 2, 3, 4. Good. Now just begin to bring movement back into your body. So wiggle the fingers and the toes. Maybe you hear some snaps or some pops. And then on your next inhale, reach your arms up high overhead behind you. Big toes touch together at the front. So it's like you were waking up from a nap or waking up in the morning. Low back can come off of the mat. Now exhale, begin to draw your knees into your chest. Feel your low back press into the mat and give yourself a nice squeeze. So feel the compression in the hips. Maybe take the belly button to the spine to create some more space. Your shoulders and your skull are relaxed, and you can rock side to side here if you choose. Good. For 3, 2, and 1. We'll get a twist in the spine. So just take your arms in T or cactus them out beside you, and then stack your knees directly over your hips. Take a big inhale. Now exhale, drop your knees to the right. Take your gaze to the left. So you should feel a nice twist in the spine. You can take your left arm up overhead if you choose. Trying to keep your left shoulder rooted into the earth here. If it comes up, that's not a big deal. Continuing with deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose, that Ujjayi breath. Take another inhale and exhale. Begin to use your core. Bring your knees, stack them back over your hips. Take an inhale. And then exhale, drop your knees to the left. Take your gaze to the right, keeping the right shoulder rooted. In yoga, we think a lot about opposing forces. So think about what's pushing and pulling here. Take a big breath in. And a big breath out. Inhale, go ahead and draw your knees back to center. Go ahead and give them another squeeze. Feel the compression in the hips. And then we're going to come into happy baby. So you can take your peace fingers to your big toes. That's your index and your middle finger. Or if you want to grab the inside or the outside of the feet, you can. If that's not accessible to you, grab onto your ankles or your shins. And you're just going to draw your kneecaps down to the outside of your rib cage. And think about keeping your tailbone long. So if you had pockets on your pants, they'd be rooted into the earth, and you might feel a little lift in the low back. Now in this pose, you can stay still, or you can always tap your knees down from side to side, rocking back and forth. For 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and zip your legs together. Take your fingers behind your thighs and just gently begin to roll up, cross your ankles, plant your hands, and come back into your box pose. So box pose is stacking the shoulders over the wrists and the hips over the knees. Gaze is neutral, so think about having a nice flat spine from the crown of your head to the base of your tailbone. We'll take a couple cat-cows here. So inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze, your shoulder blades will squeeze together and your tailbone is high. This is called cow pose. Now exhale, reverse this. Press the earth away. Tuck your tailbone under. Shift your shoulders over your wrists. I'm physically moving forward and drop my chin into my chest as I have a big arch in my spine, a rounding, creating a dome for cat. Good. Inhale back into cow. Gaze lifts, squeeze the shoulder blades. Exhale, press the earth away, round through the spine, shift forward, drop your chin to your chest. Good, one more. Inhale, cow, gaze lifts. Exhale, cat, drop your gaze. Good. Now keep your cat pose. I want you to tuck your toes under and send your hips high. This is called downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana in Sanskrit. And if you need to have a big bend in your knees, if your legs or your hips are tight, that's perfectly fine. So if you bend in your knees, you're getting a lot of length through your spine, and then you'll begin to straighten them whenever that feels good to you. That may not be today. You can always keep a bend in your knees. Think about keeping your shoulders away from your ears, and your fingers are spread nice and wide. Now press down through your index finger and your thumb. That'll take some pressure out of your wrists. Inhale, come up high onto your toes. Exhale, lower your heels back down. Inhale, high on the toes. Exhale, heels down. One more. Inhale, high on the toes. And then begin to pedal out your feet nice and slow. So one knee bends, the opposite remains straight. And then you'll switch. This is called walking the dog. For 3, 2, and 1. Come back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, walk your feet up to your hands. Take as many steps as you need to get there. Inhale, we're gonna lift our heart halfway. So take your hands above your kneecaps. Shoulders are away from the ears. You'll notice I have a flat back. I don't have any rounding. Now, if you're not feeling anything here, you think you can go lower, your hands can come to your shins. Still a flat back. If you want to feel more, hands can come down to the mat as long as you have a flat back. Take a breath in. Think about a nice long spine from crown of the head to the tailbone. Exhale, chest and thighs connect. This is deep forward fold. So bend your knees as much as you need to get your belly or your chest relaxing on your thighs, and allow your neck to be really heavy here. So crown of the head pointing towards my mat, tailbone pointing up towards the sky. You should feel a good release in the low back, maybe even a stretch through your hamstrings. Take a big breath in and out. Now press through the feet. We're going to articulate the spine. Begin to slowly, slowly roll all the way up. Head is the last thing to come up. Inhale, gather your arms up above you in prayer. Mountain pose. Really press through the feet to stand tall. Now take your right hand, grab onto your left wrist. Take a big breath in, grow tall. On your exhale, bend to the right, maybe gaze underneath your left armpit. Press through the inner foot, so the left foot. Inhale, come back to center. Go ahead and switch your grip. So grab onto the right wrist. Take a big breath in, lengthen up, create space through the side body. Now exhale, bend to the left. Press through the right foot, gaze under the right armpit. Inhale, come back to center, mountain pose. Your hands are in prayer. Exhale, chest and thighs connect. Deep forward fold. So bend your knees, allow your head to hang. Inhale, lift your heart halfway. Exhale, plant your hands. Step your right foot way back behind you. Bring your back knee down and the top of the back foot down. We're coming into low crescent lunge. So make sure your knee is pretty much tracking over your ankle. Try to not have your knee over your ankle. If you need to walk your toes out or physically move your foot, you can. Inhale, begin to rise up. Arms will lift, chest comes up. This is modified crescent lunge. So the goal here is to get a nice stretch on the right hip. You're lunging forward, feeling a stretch in your hip flexor. Breathe in and breathe out. Now begin to take your right arm, your right fingertips, walk it down towards your spine. So your right elbow is pointing up. Take your left hand to the top of the right elbow. Keep pressing your head back into your arm, feeling a stretch. Take a big inhale. Exhale, pull your arm over to the left. So you're feeling a lengthening on the right side body. Keep pressing the head back into the arm. Breathe in and out. Begin to release, come back to center, lift your arms high. Exhale, plant your hands, shift the hips back. This is half front split. Your leg doesn't have to be straight. We're trying to straighten out through the front leg as much as we can. Still a nice flat back here. Breath in and breath out. Bend back into the left knee. Walk your hands forward. Curl up your back toes. Straighten out your back leg. Send your left foot back to meet the right for plank. So we're going to take chaturanga. You're in a strong plank here. Your shoulders are over your wrists. If you need to drop to the knees, you can. Shift forward a little bit. Now exhale, lower halfway down. Elbows are squeezed in close to the rib cage. Keep the shoulders above the elbows. Then inhale, press through the palms, lift your chest. Upward facing dog or cobra. Now exhale, curl up your toes or roll over them. Press back. Downward facing dog. Take a big breath in through the nose and a breath out through the nose. We'll take that on the other side. So inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, walk to the top of your mat. You can take 5, 10, 1, 15 steps, doesn't matter. Inhale, lift halfway, hands to thighs, shins, or mat. Exhale, chest and thighs connect. You fold. Begin to press through the feet, articulate the spine. Slowly roll up. Hands will come up in in prayer pose when you get there. This is mountain. Grab onto the left wrist, take a bend to the right. Stretch through the left side of the body. Inhale back to center. Exhale, switch. Grab onto the right wrist, take a bend to the left. Inhale, come back to center, gaze towards your hands. Exhale, fold, bend your knees, chest and thighs connect, head hangs heavy. Inhale, lift halfway, hands to shins. Exhale, plant your hands down, step your left foot way back. Back knee down, top of the back foot down, coming into your low crescent. Inhale, lift your heart. Make sure your knee's tracking over your ankle. If you need to physically move your foot forward with your hands, you can. Feeling a stretch on the left hip flexor this time, really pressing into it. Now take your left fingertips, walk them down towards your spine. So your left elbow's pointing up. Take your right hand, grab onto your left elbow. Maybe you walk your fingertips down your spine a little bit more. Press your head back into your left elbow. Feel a stretch through the arm. Take a big breath in. Now exhale, bend to the right. Keep lifting your gaze. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, release, your arms come up. Now exhale, plant the hands to frame the foot. Begin to straighten out the right leg. So shift your hips back. Half front split. No rounding in the spine. If you need to be up really high, not even having your hands on anything, or maybe you have blocks or books, you can do that too. creating space from the earlobe to the shoulder. Always want our shoulders away from the ears. Begin to bend back into the right knee. Walk your hands up. Curl up your back toe. Straighten out your back leg. Send your right foot back to meet the left. You're in your plank, so you can drop down to your knees. We're going to take a vinyasa. Shift your shoulders over your wrists. Exhale, lower halfway down. Keep the shoulders above the elbows. Tops of the feet come down. Maybe you drop your knees. Maybe you keep them lifted. Upward facing dog. Notice that I'm not sinking into my shoulders here. I'm pressing out. Exhale, curl up the toes or roll over them. Downward facing dog. Good. We'll move on to Surya Namaskara B, Sun Salutation B. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, take a stroll to the top of your mat. Maybe this is feeling familiar. Inhale, lift your heart halfway, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, deep forward fold. This time we're coming up into chair pose. So press through the feet, keep your knees bent. Your arms will come up. Good. So shifting your weight back into your heels. Now tucking your pelvis under. Take a peek down. Make sure that you can see over the tops of your toes just a little bit. Lift your gaze. This should be a little uncomfortable here. Bring your belly button to your spine. Inhale. Exhale, you fold. Drape your chest over your legs. Inhale, lift your heart halfway. Exhale, plant the hands. Walk back into your plank. Doesn't matter which leg is first. Option to drop to your knees. Take a chaturanga. Lower halfway down. Nice and strong. Tops of the feet come down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take an inhale. Exhale, step your right foot in between your hands. Take your back foot, swivel it flat. Press through the outer edge of the back foot. Inhale, begin to lift your heart, warrior one. So for warrior one, we want nice square hips here. This is challenging. Think about bringing your right hip back and your left hip forward. Often I will physically move my hips with my hands. So if I had headlights on my frontal hip bones, they'd be pointing forward. Breathe in and breathe out. One more inhale. Exhale, plant the hands down to frame the foot. You'll step the right foot back to meet the left. Chaturanga. You can always drop down to your knees. You can always skip it. Up dog to down dog. We'll take it on the other side. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. Exhale, left foot steps in between your hands. Back foot comes flat. Begin to rise up. Weight is in the outer edge of the back foot. So you're pressing down through that foot to make it a little bit easier for you. Lunging into the left leg. Square off your hips. Left hip back. Right hip forward. Still want a strong bend in the left knee. Breathe in. Exhale, plant the hands to frame the foot. Step the left foot back. Take your vinyasa. That's 3 parts. Lowering down. Coming into up dog. Getting that back bend. Curling up the toes. Downward facing dog. We'll take that one more time. Inhale, bend your knees. Look forward. Exhale, walk to the top of your mat. Coming a little faster. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, fold. Begin to come up, chair pose, knees bent, sit your booty back. Tuck your tailbone under, lift your gaze. Exhale, fold. Drape your heart over your thighs. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, plant your hands. Step back into plank. Make sure your fingers are nice and wide. Lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, lift your heart, up dog. Exhale, press back, down dog. Inhale, exhale, step your right foot in between your hands. Back foot flat. Inhale, begin to rise. Warrior one. Exhale, plant the hands, step back. Option to vinyasa, or just come into down dog if you're feeling depleted. Inhale. Exhale, step your left foot through. Back foot flat. Inhale, lift. Warrior one. Weight in the outer edge of the foot. Exhale, plant the hands. Step back. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, press back. Child's pose. Drop your knees and rest. Extend your arms out in front of you. Hips sit back to the heels. Let's see how we're doing on time. Okay, we'll just take one more. Actually, let's just go ahead and stop there. So that was a lot of good sun A, sun B. We got into the hips a lot. And we'll take a little cool down series so that this video will be just 25 minutes. So you're resting in child's pose. This is a perfect place. If you ever lose your breath, this goes for any class, probably in any studio. If we see you in child's pose, we know that you're honoring your body. Don't feel like it's a sign of weakness. It's a sign of knowing your body and knowing your limits. So take another inhale and an exhale. Good. Just begin to press up into your box pose, and we'll cool down a little bit. So we'll take pigeon. This is a great stretch for the hips. So go ahead and curl up your toes, send your hips high, downward facing dog. Now inhale, bring your right leg high into the sky. Take a peek back at your right toes. They should be pointing straight down. Toes aren't opening up to the side. Toes and kneecaps pointing down. Now bring your right knee to your right wrist, and then swivel your foot across to the left wrist. Walk your left foot really far behind you. Top of your back foot comes down. This is pigeon pose. Now you might notice that your hip is lifted really high. If you have something to shove underneath your hip, that's okay. Go ahead and do that. We want nice square hips here. So those frontal hip points, those headlights that I was talking about, wanting them square towards the wall. Inhale, open up your chest, maybe drop your gaze. Exhale, sleeping swan. You can come onto your forearms. You can begin to extend your arms out in front of you. Maybe your forehead comes down to the earth. We don't want to dump our weight into the right hip. Keep the weight evenly distributed in the hips. Take 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath in and out. Inhale and exhale. Begin to walk your hands back towards your right foot. Lift your chest. Go curl up your back toe and just lift your right leg up. Launch it back up into the sky. If you need to shake it out, you can. And then lower your right leg down to meet your left. We'll take it on the left. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, bring your left knee to your left wrist, your ankle to your right wrist. Scoot your right toes back as far as you can. Top of your back foot comes down. Nice square hips, so if you need to take something under your left hip, go ahead and do that. Inhale, lift up nice and tall, maybe drop your gaze, and then slowly fold into your sleeping swan. You can walk your hands in front of you. Maybe your forearms come down to the mat. Maybe your forehead. Maybe you walk your hands out in front of you for 3 breaths. Big breath in and big breath out. One more inhale and exhale. Slowly begin to lift up. Walk your hands back towards your front foot. Curl up your right toe. Lift your back knee. Press through the hands to send the left leg high. You can open up your hip, kick your leg, and then set your left foot down to meet your right. Drop your knees. Cross your ankles behind you and come on through to your glutes. Go ahead and scoot up to the top of your mat. We're going to get a hamstring stretch and then we'll rest in Savasana. So legs are extended out right in front of you. We're going to take a forward fold, Paschimottanasana. So flex your toes back towards your face. Good. Your knees are together, ankles are together. Yeah. And then go ahead and bend your knees so that your belly and your thighs almost touch. Have a nice straight spine. Inhale, lift your arms up. Now exhale, take your peace fingers to your big toes. So my spine is still nice and straight. This should be pretty easy to grab onto your toes. Now take a big inhale. Now exhale, keeping the belly and the thighs connected, begin to shimmy your hips back and your heels forward. So I want to keep the flat spine the whole time, and I also want to keep the belly and the thighs connected. This will protect our hamstrings and our low back. Breathe in Exhale. So exaggerate that inhale. Inhale, begin to bring your belly up off of your thighs. Now exhale, bring your bottom rib. Imagine it's coming up and over your knees to find some space. One more. Inhale, come up. Exhale, you fold. This time, send your crown of the head towards the toes. Yeah, should feel really good, maybe even challenging. Tuck your chin into your chest. Slowly begin to roll all the way up. Head is the last thing to come up. Extend your arms out in front of you, a little core challenge. Begin to scoop the belly, round through the spine, nice and slow. Begin to come all the way down into your Savasana. And take rest. Just let go of that strong Ujjayi breath. You can breathe out the mouth. And just begin to notice if you feel any different than you did 25 minutes ago, if you created some new space, if you release some tension. Begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Draw your knees to your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Roll over onto your favorite side, fetal pose. Bottom arm comes under the ear as a pillow. And then just begin to press yourself up into a comfortable sit. That can be crisscross applesauce or half lotus, full lotus. Wrists to the knees, palms face up. Yeah, feel the sit bones root into the earth. And then take your hands to heart center. The light and love in me honors, acknowledges, and respects the love and light in each and every one of you. I'll see you on the mat soon. Namaste.